But your mother had a very different approach to being the parent and you being the child. And she talked about, and then you talk about for a few pages here in this next chapter, natural consequences. And anyway, do you want to talk about that?
Sure. And that phrase, natural consequences, is something that has affected my life in profound ways still today. And I had a lot of fun with writing that chapter because it was one of the chapters from a child's point of view. And the words natural consequences are written in capital letters, along with the no bank and different concepts that as a kid I thought of in big letters because they came from my mom. This was the way things were. And something of value that she taught me is that she always took the time to talk to me and reason with me, even when I was 3 or 4 years old. You know, my Aunt Jane used to say, you know, your mom talks to you like you're an adult, like even when you were like 4 years old, like, why does she do that? Because a lot of parents would just say, nope, because I said so, you can't do it. And I think I learned so much. Like, I think I gained the intellectual strength later that carried me to be strong in high school and college, to question things and to reason through things. And, you know, if I didn't want to go to school, for example, if I said, Mom, I just want to stay home and read my book, and so she would, well, you know, you can do that if you want, but there's natural consequences. What will be the consequences if you don't go to school? Right. And I had to think those through myself and think, well, maybe I won't learn, maybe I'll miss my friends, I'll get a bad grade. But then it was like all of a sudden I was wanting to go to school. Okay, I better go. Or maybe I didn't. I decided school was too traumatic and I didn't want to go, but I knew that there would be consequences, and it allowed my brain to grow more, I think, than if my mom had just said, no, you can't do this, and this is the way it is. Right. And I don't know, that's something that I struggle with these days, because a lot of people say, well, that won't work with kids. You know, like some kids just need to be told what's what, you know? And I think there are situations when you do have to lay down the law, but it's just very interesting to me. I feel that a lot can be gained from reasoning with children. And,
It could be, too, that your mother, at that point, when you were perhaps at that early age, and you say, people were saying, people were asking and wondering, why does your mother talk to you like a young adult, even though you were, quote, an early adolescent, in the natural way in which people do biology and talk about psychology and so forth. Maybe she had instincts, and I'm just guessing as a reader that your mom had instincts beyond any professional development approach. Like, she didn't go to school and learn this. She just, in her experience, instinct, said, this is the right approach.
I think that's definitely part of it, and she is a very widely read person, and she may have read, in fact, I know she did read a lot of child psychology books, and, you know, not that, I mean, she never did get to go to college more than a couple terms for financial reasons, that it just wasn't financially possible to do that, but she may have read about it, but she also was very thoughtful and instinctual, too, about this.
And maybe perhaps when she had, in her first marriage, and she, you know, was a mother of the other children, and that she had some experience to think back on, whether that was useful, fruitful, whatever, but now in a totally different experience, and just having one child to really care for, things would being a little different, perhaps.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, I guess my mom did have 4 children before me, so I may have benefited from
the early experience,
trial and error, and being the only one that, since the other kids live with their father, she really devoted herself to me. So again, I mean, I can only say that's definitely a blessing in a lot of ways.
Again, just for folks who haven't read the book, my presumption is, but I love the way you use this phrase, natural consequences were beautiful and simple. I love them. My mom explained to me, using Newton's third law, for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction, and it seemed perfectly simple. You know,
I definitely saw it in black and white as a kid, as a child. Yeah, it was interesting. Yeah.
Now, and you mentioned it earlier, but do you still see the idea that was developing in those early days about natural consequences. Should I go to school? I'd rather stay home. Am I going to do this? No. Is that still having an impact on your life as a young adult, teaching in a high school?
Definitely, in a couple of ways. The first way is that I guess throughout my life I've been very, I'll listen to authority and I'll listen to people's different opinions, but in the end, I do what's right for me. I'm not very, I have to do this because other people told me. I think it through. So in that way, it's affected me throughout my life. And the other way is as a teacher, it's actually made being a teacher more difficult for me in some ways, because as a teacher, there are times when you just have to have the rules and that's it, and you have 30-some kids and you can't reason with each and every one of them, or they will, take you to town or whatever. So as a teacher, it's difficult because I tend to want to stop and take that time with the kids and give them the benefit of the doubt and not say no and say, well, maybe give them a chance. And as a teacher, I've had to learn to be a little bit more hard-nosed, which is really difficult for me.
Yeah, right.